Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavanto Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeri Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavadvyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Namaskar. Tardishokam Atmavit. In the last session, we discussed how the ignorance manifests itself as the raga, dvesha, attachment and aversion. This was illustrated in case of Arjuna. We are discussing Arjuna's case to understand the mechanism or the anatomy of grief. Even though the situation that particularly applied to Arjuna does not apply to us, but the result is the same. That Arjuna found himself grieving, and essentially every human being also grieves. As Bhashyakara pointed out, we see in Arjuna the tendency of abandoning his own dharma or his own duty and seeking to take up the duty of someone else, which appears to be more rewarding. One's own duty seems to be producing very painful results. So Bhashyakara said that this is what raga and dvesha do to us. That there is an aversion for what I am required to do and an attraction for what is not right for me. And when Arjuna asked this question, what's the reason why one has difficulty in performing one's own dharma, one's own duty? Even though one knows what is right to do in a given situation, there is something within oneself that seems to propel or compel one to go against one's own values. Lord Krishna said, Kamesha, Krodesha. Call it Kama, Krodha, Lobha. Lust, anger, greed, and several similar impulses, which are all summarized as raga and dvesha, attachment and aversion. So this is where we begin. The grief or sadness or shoka manifest in our life as raga and dvesha. Unfortunately, when we act as impelled by these impulses of raga dvesha, they result into further raga dveshas, which create further impulsion to compromise one's dharma and do something which may not be right for oneself. And this is how one is pushed down the ladder of spiritual evolution, as you said in the morning, that asuri and rakshasi vrittis slowly start showing up. Asuri vritti is tendency to indulge in gratification. And rakshasi vritti is when that further transforms into the tendency to destroy. So at every stage the grief keeps on growing in intensity. We said in the very first talk that grief does not spare anyone. Just as corona spares no one, grief also spares no one. Because everyone is born ignorant. And ignorance creates this sense of individuality, as we explained earlier, which creates sense of separatedness, limitedness, insignificance, insecurity. And therefore, a tendency to or a need to protect myself, which makes me a self-centered person. And those things and beings which to me appear as helpful to me, supporting me in fulfilling my agenda of self-centeredness, they become the object of my like. And likewise, those who in my opinion are harmful to me as far as fulfilling my agenda is concerned, they become the object of dvesha. Atmastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. Upanishad says that sarvam, anything and everything becomes priyam, dear to me, because ultimately the pleased self is dear to me. We have to turn this around. We are slaves to these impulses. This is called bondage. Even though free will is given to us, very often we are not able to exercise the free will because that free will is hijacked by these impulses. It may be jealousy, it may be hatred, it may be frustration, it may be anger, it may be lust, it may be greed. All of these are manifestations of sadness or grief. So Bhagavad Gita's prescription is, first step is swadharma, performing one's duty. Shreyan swadharmo vigunaha paradharmat svanushthitat. Even not so well perform one's own duty is better than well performed duty of the another. In Bhagavad Gita, at that time, swadharma meant the duty as determined by the varna-ashrama dharma. Because the society was organized around varna, the caste, and ashrama, the stages of life. Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Brahmachari, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyasi. And duties were specified for each one of them. The idea of duty was that each one becomes a contributor. Each individual contributes to the smooth or the harmonious functioning of the society. Each one becomes a contributor. So even though the system of varna and ashrama does not apply now, but we just want to understand the spirit behind that, the social organization. As the Swami used to say, a non-competitive society, which is not possible now, we have to function in a competitive society. We have to function within whatever system is there. So we cannot literally follow what existed at that time. People did not need to compete. The idea of duty or dharma is that one is happy to do what one is required to do. Because the duty is allotted to everybody. Chaturvarnyam maya sustam guna karma vibhagasah. Lord Krishna says that I have created this Chaturvarnya, this system of the four castes, and it includes also the 4 stages of life. Guna karma vibhagasah. The karma or duty is in keeping with guna or the disposition of the mind. So ideally, a person gets to do a task, perform a task, which is compatible to his personality, his aptitude, his talent, his choice. And therefore, a person is comfortable and happy doing what the person is required to do. This is the idea here. There is harmony between the person and the duty that the person is required to perform. And therefore, the duty or the karma becomes important. Dharma becomes important. And not the outcome of the karma. The idea is that if we enjoy what we are required to do, then outcome does not remain of a great consequence. Ultimately, what our heart is seeking is happiness. We want to be pleased self. If we can be pleased with what we are doing, then we do not have to postpone our happiness for the outcome. So in an ideal system like that, where a carpenter is doing what he is required to do, a mason is happy doing what he is required to do, a brahmana is happy doing what he is required to do, a kshatriya, a vaishya, everybody is happy doing what they are required to do, because what they are required to do is compatible to their disposition, their talents, their aptitudes. Then automatically everybody becomes a contributor. the duties that I perform are sort of selfless duties as contributors, because that is the act, that is what they enjoy. So ideally this is the idea, this is the idea behind the Varnashram Vyavastha. So we can translate the spirit of that Vyavastha of Sadharma today. Is what is dharma or the duty? Well, dharma has many meanings, of course. In this instance, the word dharma means duty. What is the right thing for one to do in a given situation? That one is performing variety of roles and different situation calls for me to respond in a different way and perform a given role. That I perform my role according to the script which is called dharma. The idea is that I enjoy what I am doing. Love for the karma. In which case, karma phala does not remain of a great consequence. And this is possible for anybody. Although very often we hear the complaint, Swami, my work is very monotonous. It's not challenging. I don't get job satisfaction. I don't enjoy what I'm required to do. And that may very well be so. But under those conditions, the reward becomes very important. Because work does not give me satisfaction. And therefore, I need something else to give me satisfaction. Which is called karma phala. So this is where the karma phala asakti, the attachment for karma phala comes. Where karma phala or outcome becomes more important than karma or effort, because my satisfaction depends upon the outcome. Either because I do not enjoy karma, or because my gratification depends upon what I get as a result of my action, namely the reward from the action. The dharma, artha, kama, the other purushartha, the moksha ultimately. Where artha and kama become more important. Let us simply translate them as comfort and pleasure. When they become important in life, then dharma, the righteousness, does get a back seat. And when that pressure of artha kama, the pressure of comfort and pleasure, because this seeking gratification from comfort and pleasure is like trying to quench fire with butter. Like pouring butter into fire. तो बाहर निकलो भाई, disturb ऐसे. न जातु कामः कामानाम् उपभोगेन शाम्यते. That kama or desire for gratification never gets quenched by supplying gratification, providing gratification. So if a person allows artha and kama to govern his or her life, And that seems to be the prevailing environment in the whole world. The whole economic structure and everything is based on the outcome, the bottom line, the profit. And the environment of competition where they extract more and more out of you. All of this we cannot change. We have to function in this system. All we can do something with is our attitude. Lord Krishna also says to Arjuna that when you go out in the world, then you will find that people are only motivated by the reward, by the outcome. You function among them, like them, with the same enthusiasm. Chikirshur lokasam, but your intention is different. Your intention is to become a contributor. Your intention is the inner purification of mind. Your intention is freedom from ragadveshas. Your desire is freedom from impulses. Your desire is to discover an inner satisfaction. That there is an infinite potential of happiness within you. And this dharma, which is same as karma yoga, is meant to tap into the potential that is within you, the happiness that is within you. And what enables me to do? The spirit of karma yoga. Or to simplify in words of Puja Swamiji, the spirit of contribution. That I look upon my duty, my karma as an opportunity to contribute. Whatever I have in terms of my talent, in terms of time, if possible in terms of treasure, the 3 T's, whatever you can contribute. The action becomes then an opportunity to contribute. We have at least one or more of these things. We may not have treasure. We have limited talent. We have time. But the dharma is based on spirit of contribution. In the older social structure, each one contributed. And what you got was not very important because people like Brahmana was not a rich, he was always a poor person. Even a Shudra also would not be a rich person. Both are poor people. Only Vaishya may be a wealthy person. And Kshatriya is a person with power. But Brahmana is most respected because of his wisdom and knowledge. And Shudra also is respected for his contribution to the society. There is respect for everybody. There is dignity of karma or dignity of labor. When you do not compete, there is no superiority, no inferiority. When you do not compete, then there is no need to become someone else. When a Shudra competes with a Vaishya, he wants to become a Vaishya. Why not? Why can I not do that? A Vaishya wants to become Brahmana, Brahmana wants to become this. It's all right. That you want to become something is quite all right. But not becoming someone else. As I say, if you want to compete, compete with your own self. Improve your talents, improve your abilities. Have the value of doing your karma as best as you can. and enjoy that process. And enjoy that whole opportunity to contribute. And the reward will take care of itself. After all, karma phala is contained in karma. Karma will give rise to karma phala. If not today, tomorrow. People do complain that Swamiji, in spite of what all I have done, I have not been rewarded. Looks like that there is no justice here. Why do bad things happen to good people? Very common questions. But good things also happen to good people. And bad things also happen to bad people. There is no rule that only bad things happen to good people. Things happen. Why do they happen? Well, it is very difficult to determine what is the cause of what is happening to me right now. All we can say is that some karma that I must have performed at some time in the past and when, I don't know. And therefore this karma becomes a great, our Swami used to say, shock absorber. There must be some reason. Why is it happening to me? There must be some reason. And I can proceed. We cannot explain why things are happening to us. We cannot explain why we are what we are. We are born with a body, we are born with a set of sense organs, we are born with mind, we are born with intellect, we are born with some talents, we are born with some gifts. And everybody is unique. This competition means that I want to become somebody else. It is one thing that I want to be better than what I am right now. And I wish to contribute more and more, that is good. But that I am all right only when I am like someone else, that is not necessary. I am all right as I am. I am a carpenter, that's all right. I am a mason. I am an engineer, I am a doctor, I am an executive, I am a businessman. Whatever I am, respecting myself, respecting my place in the scheme of things, not being proud, but respect, self-respect is important, if not pride. I'm not proud of what I am, but I'm happy with what I am. And that I have a place in the scheme of things. That's what that Varna Vyavastha means. The Brahmana has a place in the scheme of things, the Kshatriya has a place in the scheme of things, the Vaishya has a place in the scheme of things, a Shudra has a thing. Now, those things are not there, but every individual has a place in the scheme of things. Recognize that. And everybody's contribution is important. Swami, that's what you say, but my boss doesn't say that. No, number one, we have to learn to approve ourselves. We are always seeking approval from others. If someone says that you are good, then I think that I am good. If someone says you are no good, then I think I am no good. I am not saying that we do not have to take into account the opinion of others. We can certainly learn from the opinion of others. But if we validate ourselves only if we are validated by others, if we accept ourselves only if we are accepted by others, that is a very difficult goal to achieve. Because the world has its own agenda. It has its own raga-dveshas. And therefore the world has no agenda of necessarily approving me. So while I respect the world, I respect the opinion of the world, I try to learn from the opinion of the world also. But ultimately I have to recognize that I have to respect myself. I have to learn to accept myself. And that happens when I'm able to enjoy what I'm doing. And I can enjoy what I'm doing if I do not judge what I'm doing by the reward that I get. If I do not judge what I am doing by the opinion of others, but when I am convinced that what I am doing is right and what I am doing is good, then I bring about an inner harmony. Because the problem that we have, the human beings have, is the problem with our own self. Self non-acceptance is a big problem. And therefore a strong need to be accepted by others. Self-disapproval is our problem. And therefore we are seeking to be approved by others. Now within measurable degree it's all right that we want to be approved by others, we want to accept others. Within reasonable limits it's all right. But if my sense of well-being totally depends upon being approved by others, being validated by others, then it may not always happen because others have their own agenda. And I may not necessarily get the kind of appreciation from others that is due to me also. So I said, whereas I do take into account the opinion of others, I learn from that. But at the same time, ultimately, I will learn to respect myself. I will learn to approve of myself. And that will be when I see my place in the scheme of things. I see the fact that I also contribute in my own way. The whole universal scheme, that I work for an organization which contributes to society, and I work in a department which contributes to the organization, and I work in a section that contributes to the department. It is true that I may be a small little thing in the whole scheme of things, and I feel that I am insignificant, but nobody is insignificant. The whole scheme would be incomplete without that individual, without me. This is not a matter of pride, it's a matter of recognition. That even though all I do is just a little assembly, this is all I do. Put this here and there, or some, I'm in an assembly line. I do a little task. If there is not done, the assembly will be incomplete. Why should I brand that my work is monotonous, is not interesting, same thing, look at what somebody else is doing, is more challenging? Very often, I judge myself based on others. But I cannot gracefully accept what is my share of my contribution. Thus, recognizing one's place in the scheme of things, recognizing that as an opportunity to contribute, is no doubt my duty to become as good a contributor as I can by cultivating my talents, by putting my soul into what I'm doing, and learning to enjoy what I'm doing. That I will do if I find that I am an important person. If I feel that I am insignificant, of no consequence, then I cannot enjoy my contribution. What does it matter what I do, Swamiji? Nobody cares. But whatever little I am doing, I recognize that contribution. Our Swamiji jocularly used to give an example of a locomotive steam engine in the olden days, where the engine had a big cylinder and a piston pushing the steam and running the whole train. And that piston is the most important, element in the engine. It's constantly moving. And there is a bolt and a nut. And this nut doesn't do anything. So the piston kept on making fun of him. So, you nut, do nothing? Just sit there, idle? Look at me, see what I'm doing? And this poor nut all the time being taunted, thought, let me also do something. Let me also turn. So nut started turning. And the bolt came out and the whole piston, got dismantled. So even nut also has a place, an important place. And so, as I said, let us respect ourselves for what we are. Respect ourselves for what we contribute. It is not equal to what someone else contributes. I may not be as important in the scheme of things as someone else, in the eyes of others. But I'm important. Understand that we are all created by Ishvara. And we are all given this body-mind-sense complex. We are all given our share of the Ichcha Shakti, Kriya Shakti, Jnana Shakti, the power to know, power to will, power to act. It's all given in our own way. And we are sent here. So why not we accept judgment of the Creator, who has created us, who has created the whole scheme of things, who has placed us in this place in the scheme of things. We respect that. And accept it gracefully. If I realize that I also have a place, I also have an importance, I also have a contribution, then I'll be able to enjoy that. I'll feel self-respect, if not pride, self-respect. So it is not so much karma that is important. It is not so much karma phala, the reward, that is important really. It is my disposition of mind, my attitude towards the whole thing, my attitude towards myself, my attitude towards respecting me, accepting me as I am. They said accepting does not mean that I do not change. I have a commitment to be as best a contributor as I can be. A Nobel laureate is a great contributor. The president of the country is a great contributor, so no doubt. A businessman is a great contributor because Ishvara has given them those kind of talents, which is great. We respect them and we enjoy their contribution. But I cannot look down upon myself because I am not like that. Every creature is what it is. An elephant is an elephant, an ant is an ant, and an elephant does what an elephant does, an ant does what an ant does. Thank God that Ishvara has not given them a human mind, otherwise they would be miserable. If they are competing with each other, where is their ant? But they have the mind that they have. Now we have to evolve to that mind, understand? We have to consciously evolve to that mind with the consciousness that we have, with the wisdom that we have. That ignorance has given all these obstacles in our life, which obstacles are all simply summarized as raga, dveshas or impulses. We can become as simple as them. They may be simpleton. We don't want to become simpleton. We want to become simple. Nature is simple, predictable, in harmony. Everybody seems to be quite happy and content with the place that they have. No, that is because they are not evolved, and therefore this is like a child, is innocent. That is because it is not evolved, and all what samskaras or vasanas are there are not yet manifest. In nature it will never become manifest, it will always remain like that. In us it is all manifest. And so this ignorance completely manifests itself in us, in human beings. So we have to undo things, if you want to say, by becoming innocent, by becoming simple, not simpleton. By innocent I do not mean stupid. Innocent doesn't mean that I cannot take care of myself. Yes, I have to protect myself, I have to learn to live among, in the society, among the people. Whereas I have value of not hurting others, at the same time I protect myself and don't get hurt by others. But the value of becoming that simple person, where there is no conflict within, that is called simplicity, innocence, where there is no inner conflict. And that is because there is satisfaction with what is. A child is satisfied with what is, with its own self as well as what is around. When it starts becoming conscious of his own ego and what is around, then all kinds of demands and all sorts of problems then manifest. But until that terrible two comes, there is innocence. And we enjoy that child, we enjoy the innocence. So that is our true nature really. When Upanishad describes a wise person, the most evolved person, spiritually evolved person, he is compared with a Maharaja, like an emperor, all whose desires are satisfied. Or like an innocent child who has no desire. Or a Brahmana who is wise. Those three are sort of equal as far as their mind is concerned. So innocence does not mean being stupid. Being simple doesn't mean being simpleton. It just means being simple. With all kinds of angularities and twists and turns that we have in the mind, that scheming mind, always trying to take advantage of others, trying to exploit others, grab from others. This is what we find in the world, no doubt. And so we think that's the way to live life. Because we find everyone grabbers, but that's what they think is the way to be successful. When success is measured in terms of artha and kama, then that will happen. Because success is measured by the state of mind, the simplicity of mind, the innocence of mind, the pleased self, if that is our criterion for success, then artha and kama are not the means, dharma is a means. Shriyan swadharmo vigunaha. Therefore Lord Krishna instructs Arjuna about his dharma, which can be simply translated as duty or doing what is right in a given situation with a spirit of contribution. That is what we learn from that varnashrama vyavastha, the caste system, is doing what is right, playing my role properly, and being as much a contributor as I can be. To be a contributor is a value, no doubt. And when we are practicing any value, we have to observe the boundaries, no doubt. Because practicing any value, such as being contributor, always brings about some sacrifice, self-sacrifice. We use the word sacrifice, that's a big word. Contribution is a better word. But this does involve, doing what is right, does involve sacrifice. Because in so doing, we have to let go the benefits that appear to come by compromising what is right. In speaking truth, we have to sacrifice, if you use the word, the gain that appears to be there by compromising truth, that I must tend to gain something material by compromising truth, by compromising honesty, by grabbing, by using my abilities to exploit somebody. That's what we find everywhere around. And unfortunately, we have to work in that environment. And there is hardly a role model around also. So, Swami, where is this person? What are you talking about? There is nobody like that. I'm sure there are many like that. But whether there is someone like that or not, that's how we have to become to be happy. What is meant by freedom from sadness, as we said, is discovering happiness. And understand that there is only one source of happiness, and that is the self, that is the consciousness. There is no happiness in anything that is unconscious. Although the things of the world seem to give me happiness, but that is only a delusion, that's not. Because there is no consistency. If something gives me happiness, if this is the source of happiness, then it should consistently give me happiness. It doesn't. This does give me happiness at a given time, at a given place, in a given condition. At other times, at other conditions, it doesn't do anything to me. The only thing that is consistent with the nature of happiness is the self. Satchit Ananda. And whenever we are enjoying something, we think that we may be enjoying an object like that. But this object is just an occasion, an instrument for in bringing to manifestation the happiness which is my own self. Every time we are happy, even though we may think that that happiness comes from somebody else or something else, they just facilitate the manifestation of happiness which is my own nature, which is unfortunately covered by this blanket of ignorance. So every time I do something, like follow dharma, like be a contributor, perform an act of kindness, do something good just out of my sweet will, the satisfaction that I get is the happiness of the self. And therefore, when Arjuna was ready to quit the battlefield by saying, Nayosya, I will not fight, he was all the time looking at the world as a source of happiness. So the battle will bring victory, will bring kingdom, will bring means of happiness and power. He realized that then the price that you had to pay was much more than the gain. That's the reason why, because he always evaluated action only by the result, the outcome that it brings about. Lord Krishna wanted to teach him the importance of action. Don't judge an action by the outcome. Judge the action by the action itself. Action itself is capable of giving you satisfaction. How? Because an action becomes an occasion for me to entertain the right attitude, which is called dharma here. Every action is an opportunity for me to contribute. Every action is an opportunity for me to recognize my place in the scheme of things. And again, when I'm enjoying the action, I'm enjoying myself. But Swami, nobody cares for what you do, people only care for performance, which also we respect. Because there is no way to judge the quality of action, it's a subjective thing, and performance is an objective thing. So naturally the action is judged by the outcome, which also we respect. And not that outcome is not important to us. When an action is performed, an outcome is kept in view. That's called prayojanam. There's a purpose behind performing an action, then I'm performing the action for a given outcome. And I do the best that I can in order for that outcome to happen, without compromising my attitude. I do not allow the outcome to dictate me, so that I'm compelled to compromise my values, compromise my attitudes. I do not allow the outcome to do that. When I allow the outcome or the reward to dictate me, that is called karma phala asakti, attachment to karma phala. Where karma phala or the reward becomes more important than karma. Lord Krishna says, keep the karma phala in mind. When you shoot an arrow, you are shooting an arrow for hitting a target. Thus when you perform a karma, you certainly want a certain outcome. For that purpose it is being performed. But I do not allow the outcome to dictate me. All along it is the quality of karma that dictates me. It's the right attitude that dictates me. In that, if the outcome is not what I wanted, I gracefully accept it. Because I have a trust in the scheme of things. Understand that there is fairness in the creation. Ishvara is the creator and he is fair. That is what is meant by the law of karma. That as you sow, so you reap. And even though it may not look like I am rewarded adequately for what I am doing, the reward may come in various ways. It may not come in the form that I am seeking. It may not come as artha and kama perhaps. It may come in a different way. There are many aspects in our life. Wealth and comfort and pleasure is not the only thing in our life. There is a family. There are relationships. There are many other sources of happiness. Other than the wealth and prosperity and status. So I may be rewarded in many ways. That I enjoy a good relationship with people, with my family, that can be a great source of happiness. I enjoy a good relationship with my friends, great source of happiness. Thus we have many sources of happiness. I enjoy a mind that enjoys music or whatever is given to me. I can enjoy nature, I can enjoy music, or whatever is given to me. So reward can come in many ways in terms of a given disposition of mind or a given set of situations. If I have trust in the scheme of things, in the fairness of the things, that Ishvara is fair, and that it is my role to do the best that I can do, and let him take care of the rest. Let me have the trust in Ishvara, so that I can gracefully accept whatever is the outcome of my action, is the reward of my action. There is no doubt success and failure in life, no doubt about that. The dvandva, the pairs of opposites are always there. And very often we have to confront failure. But again, if we have the trust in the fairness of the things, what is failure? Failure is there, something did not work out the way I wanted it. But otherwise there is no failure. A karma always gives rise to its phala or reward. Failure means that I did not get the reward in terms that I wanted or I expected. The reward will come. As I said, in terms of the happiness of my mind. In many other ways it can come. And therefore, Shreyan Swadharmo Vigunaha. The first step that Lord Krishna prescribes for becoming free from grief, which means becoming free from ignorance, is Swadharma. In Bhagavad Gita also called Karma Yoga. then we gain a mind, an objectivity of the mind, where we can create distance. Ultimately, it is not that I will become free, not that I have to become limitless. I don't have to. I am. This lumping together of Atma and Anatma, the limitless and the limited, sort of, in our mind. So we want a disposition of mind where we can create the distance with Anatma. And I will see the Atma as Atma is, see myself as I am. So first phase of acquiring knowledge or giving of ignorance is karma, is right vyavahara. Living life appropriately. Karma yogena yoginam. That's the phase of karma yoga. Then jnana yogena sankhyanam. Then my mind does become contemplative. It is not necessary I have to take sannyas, I have to renounce, or I have to leave my family, etc. That may not be necessary. What you need is a disposition of mind, where you enjoy the leisure of the mind. You are happy with yourself. This lockdown is a test for everybody. People just become restless, miserable. And so as soon as this lockdown is relaxed, you can see people coming out because they were so sort of suffocated with their own self. We have problem with our own self. We are trying to avoid ourselves, escaping from ourselves. It's all manifestation of grief, ignorance and grief. So this process is discovering more and more comfort with myself. When sufficient comfort is developed, then mind is ready to see that I am limitless. So that is called a sannyas who is comfortable with his own self. Then only you can be a contemplative person, otherwise you cannot be. You can be in isolation, but not necessarily contemplative because the mind doesn't cooperate with you. So in this process we build a mind. That is with the lockdown, isolation. For some people it's a blessing. Swami, I am very happy with the lockdown. I got the time that I very much needed. Or I got an opportunity to discover myself. So lockdown has been a blessing to many people. It can become blessing to everybody. If that emotional maturity or simplicity or inner harmony has been cultivated, it has to be cultivated by effort. It doesn't happen automatically. We have to display these right attitudes in life, right values and attitudes in life. And karma means every vyavahara, every interaction which we have. It may be in the place of work, it may be in the family, anywhere. Any interaction is an opportunity for me to display that attitude. Here called dharma, being a contributor. Then automatically compassion becomes a value, forgiveness becomes a value. We discover all those things from ourselves. And we grow in simplicity like the rest of the nature. They are what they are because that's how they have been restrained to be. We are not restrained. That freedom we have, anything can be a blessing or it can be a curse. So freedom, the free will that we have, when properly utilized, as the Bhagavad Gita teaches, becomes a great blessing, and that is why we are given that. But unfortunately, if that is misused or abused, the very freedom can also become a source of great misery. As we said, marriage is a word or a sentence. Can be a word or can be a life sentence. Our life can become a sentence. Lockdown can become a sentence. Isolation can become a sentence. If you have not initiated this process of emotional maturity, self-purification, self-acceptance, self-comfort, and more comfortable I am with myself, less shoka or misery in my life, and most comfortable I am, totally free from grief. Tarat shokam atmavit. The knower of the self crosses the grief. As Lord Krishna says, Atmaneva Atmana tushtaha. One is totally content with one's own self. That's a person totally free from misery. Vihaya kaman nisarvan pumam charata nispruha nirmamo nirahankara sashanti santimati gacchati. The same second chapter in the context of Sthita Prajna, Lord Krishna says, Vihaya kaman yasarvan kaman vihaya. When all the kamanas, desires or ragadvesas have left him, we can't give them up, they have to leave us. With our right attitudes, they leave us. Nispruha, charati, he just moves about. Nispruha, without any spruha, without any longing for anything. Nirmamo, nirahankaraha, if he doesn't need to possess anything, without any pride, sashantim atigacchati, he enjoys the shanti, the peace or happiness or total freedom from sadness. Om. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah. Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.